Hello, and welcome to Conversations with Rev G, happening here every Monday night on WEMS Radio from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. I am Reverend Grenetta Mason, aka Rev G, and I'm here every Monday night to bring you spiritual conversations. I like to talk about spirituality in a practical way. How does it support you in your everyday life? Spirituality is a part of how we can live our lives. And I'm about supporting you and finding joy and living your best life with grace and ease. So the show is to support you in getting there. I have guests from all walks of life. They have different careers. They do a lot of different things, and they come with a lot of different perspectives. And we come on to talk about how our spiritual lives has impacted our careers, some of the spiritual tools that we use, because we also talk about creating that personal spiritual toolkit. So I hope that from these shows, you're getting some great tools. And if you want to know more about what I'm doing and follow me, you can find me on YouTube and Facebook as Reverend Grenetta Mason. And I'm on Instagram as Rev Grenetta, bringing you motivational daily quotes and just really supporting you and finding that joy. We've been through so much, and it's so good when we can find a moment to take a breath, find some peace, and find some joy. My guest tonight is Tanika Farmer. She is a chef, and she's the owner of Veganique. And Veganique is a food prep and catering company specifically for vegan, vegetarian, and pescatarian. I'm excited to have her on tonight so we could talk about food and eating. I think eating is a spiritual practice, so it's really going to be great to talk about how food supports us in our lives. So Tanika, welcome. It's great to have you tonight.
Hi, Grenetta. Thank you so much.
Hello.
I'm honored to be a part of your show.
Great. So Tanika, introduce yourself and give us a little bit on how you decided to become a chef, and particularly like vegan, vegetarian, and pescatarian. And we say all those words, and it would be great tonight if we can like support people and what the difference is. So give us a little bit of how you decide to become a chef.
Okay. Well, my name is Tanika Farmer, and I am the founder and CEO of Veganique, and it is a food catering and meal prep company. And the reason I started my company was because of the food that actually I had trouble with. So I had trouble with meat, such as chicken and turkey and things like that, because I stopped eating beef probably when I was 14, beef and pork. So with dairy and meats and different things like that, I was having gastro issues with that. So what I did was I started to, because it was so painful. I had to take medication. I had to do surgery. And I realized after doing research and not listening to the doctor, because all they were doing was saying, oh, you need medication. Keep coming back from medication or surgeries, which were painful, and it was hurtful. So after doing research, I realized it's inflammation. It's about what we're putting in our bodies. And for me, it was more so dairy and the meat, the processing of the meat. It just wasn't good for me. So I definitely had to look into everything. So I changed everything. I changed the way I ate, what I put into my body. I changed what I put on my body as well. So my hair, just different things, chemicals I put in my hair. I just changed everything because I just wanted to feel whole again. I just wanted to feel like, I wasn't sick. And it was, just, I didn't want to go through the pain and the agony of these gastro issues that I had. So I can cook. I always knew how to cook since I was 14. It starts with my grandmom in the kitchen watching her, and from there, all the women in my family can cook, and they're from the South. So it was just more so putting those ingredients and the things that I grew up with into vegan food, plant-based food, and
Mm-hmm.
pescatarian food. And pescatarian is when people eat fish, that as far as it's still flesh, it's still meat, but it's fish. And it's easier going down, like, when you are, transitioning into a vegan diet, it's easier to start that way, or, different things. It just depends on what people want. But for me, that's how I started,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
eventually going into a vegan lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, with the my background and my Southern background, and I had a lot of Caribbean friends, so I put a Caribbean twist into things too. With my
Mm-hmm.
food, it's just about bringing that flavor and that soul into the greatness of what's already coming from the ground. The plant based,
Mm-hmm.
and turn it into things that are reminiscent of fried chicken, and different things that we eat, macaroni and cheese. It's just vegan, but it's still delicious. So
Right.
being that I know how to put the flavors together, and I know how to warm people up with my food, because the best
Mm-hmm.
compliment I can get is, you can taste the love in it. I love it,
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm.
because it's
Mm-hmm.
just, I go into this with all my heart and soul. So
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, when I started out back in 2010, it wasn't a lot of options out there,
Mm-hmm.
very difficult. So just, going to a restaurant, I have to get salad because, and
You
then I
didn't
got to
have
tell them to
any,
take the
right,
bacon out
exactly.
and
Mm-hmm.
all the other stuff, because,
Mm-hmm.
it's not much I can eat. So just seeing that, and it wasn't a lot of like, coverage as far as, having that food, that vegan good food available. You know what I mean? If I
Right,
have a taste for wings, I can have some buffalo cauliflower or some
right.
mushroom. You know what I mean? Some
Mm-hmm.
oyster
Mm-hmm.
mushroom. So it's just about like wanting to cover that part of the food industry that was missing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I wanted to do, and make
Mm-hmm.
people inclusive, make it all inclusive. Like, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to, like, oh, can you not add that, can you not add this? It's all together. You can have a complete, whole, soulful meal that's delicious, and you can enjoy it from the meat options that are vegan,
Mm-hmm.
down to the carbs, or whatever different things that make you feel like it's comfort food.
Yeah,
So
I think that's great because when I think about, the foods that we love and the way we eat, we were taught to cook a certain way. Like you
absolutely.
said, the way you learned from your grandmother, you and then able to switch that around and then make it as flavorful. But when not all of us can do that,
Right.
or can make that shift so easily,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Because food is very comforting and food just really means a lot,
Yeah.
So when you talked about, I think about that when you talked about you started based on your health issues,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
And as we know, I say that food is everything, right?
Yes.
Some of the elements and some of the things are really about how we eat, right? Can you talk about some of the changes that you've seen in people or clients that you've had that have given up meat?
Oh yes, that's the best part of it too. Like, and also my journey. I'm gonna start with myself, because when I
Okay.
stopped eating dairy and when I stopped eating meat, the
Hmm.
changes were phenomenal. Like, I
Hmm.
no longer needed the medication that I was
Hmm.
taking.
Hmm.
My skin cleared up.
Hmm.
Just like, it was easier for me to even go to the bathroom, because it was just a lot of
Hmm.
issues where that wasn't consistent, and I
Hmm.
feel like that's very unhealthy, but I
Right.
was just living like that. So
Hmm.
for me, that's what it was. So now, when I talk to my clients, because it's not a push of like, oh, you got to go vegan. No, you got to do what's right for you. But
Right.
it's just like, when clients do come to me, that have had my food or does do my meal prep on a regular basis, it's
Mhm.
more so like, um sorry, it's more so like, they tell me basically, like, it was a lady, like, she was going into like diabetes, and we started a diet where, of course, low sodium and, just doing healthy things, within, just giving her like different salads and just changing up the diet and making everything vegan, but still, different things like this buffalo cauliflower or the mushroom or the sauteed mushroom, just things that come from the ground or different things like that, but making it delicious. She didn't need the medication. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not promoting like don't take medication, but she had a chance to revisit food and assess herself and how she was feeling, and with that and the consultations and different things that I do, that's what I do. I mean, it's basically just listening to what your needs are, and kind of just making a diet for you so that it complements your lifestyle or your healthy eating habits. It's always, I'm always promoting go to the doctor, do what you have to do. But it's just, it's really up to the individual, and the consultation of a doctor. But what I do know about it is foods are always healing if you're eating them right, and a lot of people get discouraged with vegan as far as like, oh, it's expensive. It's this, yeah, the processed cheese, the processed vegan cheese, yeah, that gets expensive. But getting some peppers and potatoes and mushrooms and cauliflower from the farmer's market or just even the grocery store when they're on sale, you can make that happen. It's like beans and different things like that you can use and make a whole complete meal out of it, so it's like,
true. I think about is education too, and people being educated or even being willing to make the shift, right? And I've noticed a lot more that there's a change in the Black community. What do you think is driving that change, right? Because you're seeing more and more soul vegans, more and more soul food vegan restaurants. I'm seeing a whole shift. What do you think's driving that change?
the internet,
Really, the internet.
yeah, the platforms. I mean, people are becoming conscious, and you're learning about yourself. You're learning about what food does to you. It's all, even with Tabitha Brown, she's like, a voice that came out of nowhere, and it's a blessing, and I love to see it because it's like, these are the things that I've been trying to promote since 2010. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's amazing that, people are, even if it's the TikTok, you know what I'm saying? They're using all of this stuff to say, oh, we can do things different, and it doesn't have to be disgusting, or it doesn't have to be, oh, this food, plant food. People joke like, oh, I'm eating grass and eating trees and all that, but it doesn't have to be that way. So I think it's just about, us, if you look at it, it's a lot of like the African American culture, or the indigenous culture that, we are in the hospitals with high blood pressure and strokes and different things like that. And it's like, oh, it's hereditary. My aunt and my uncle or my mom. No, it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to
We're
be,
just choosing to stay. We got like 5 or 6 taste buds in our mouth, and we do so. We go far and beyond for these little taste buds that is just gonna last for a minute. But people are understanding that there is a way you can transition and do it in a healthy way. It's just you got to explore. Either you can get a meal prep from somebody like myself, or you can go on the internet and look at these different recipes. It's readily available now. So people are seeing. I mean, you're tagging each other because we're all out here in the social media. We're doing this right now. This is all information. So you're connecting. And it's about connecting with yourself, especially with us. I mean, as African American people, it's just like we go to the fast food, we're working hard, we're doing what we gotta do. Yeah. Sometimes you as queens and kings, you gotta take care of yourself. You gotta make sure you're right so your family can be right. That's very important. And I promote that to my family as well. I'm always lecturing somebody about something. But it is always a choice. It's never like, oh, you should do this, you gotta do this. No, you choose it when you choose it.
And I know what you're saying about family and people around you. What kind of advice would you give a person? Because I live in a house where my husband loves meat. He's not vegan, but I could see he eats all the vegetables that I cook, right?
Right.
And he's willing to explore, right?
Right.
But what kind of advice would you give a person whose family is just like everybody around them? How would you support them?
Well, for that, it's just about giving them the information and letting them use it when they want to use it. Sending
Mm,
them different things, like, giving them literature, and just
mm,
talking about
like
it here and there.
education.
You
Hmm.
can't push anything on anybody because people be
Right.
like, look, that's you, that's not me. And
Hmm.
that's understandable because we,
Hmm.
as humans, we do not like to be uncomfortable, but
Hmm.
sometimes that uncomfortable, like that opposition in your mind is what's going to get you to the other side, of
Hmm.
healthy or a business
Right.
opportunity or whatever, that's just life. But
Hmm.
it's just about presenting the information as much as you can, and
Hmm. Right.
that, I mean, that's eventually what happened to me. It's just like I had, because at first it was like, well, I'm not going to get rid of this, but I'm going to get rid of this, just like
Mm,
I did the beef and the pork. I was just like, well, I can still do chicken and turkey, but throughout life showed me,
mhm.
it
Right.
has to be this way for me. you know
Hmm.
it's just
Hmm.
like people will choose when they want to choose, I mean, or not,
Right.
but it's just about doing what you can when you're in their presence, and
Mm-hmm.
cooking them meals if possible,
Mhm.
or
Right, and
giving them a
showing
gift.
them, right,
Yeah,
exposing them, yeah,
or
to how
gifting
good
them
it
with
is.
food so they
Right,
can try it. That
right.
you gifting
Because
them with good food.
right, exactly. For me, I had your food when I first met you. I used to be a maid, used to pack that lunch every day. You
Yes.
remember? And it's just
Yes.
like have everything you needed, right? Like
Yes.
I couldn't find anything, but you would have that food back, right?
Right.
Which
Right.
was really cool. And then my daughter, she started eating vegan, and she would
Mhm.
come and cook for me once
Right.
a week. And so that really supported me in knowing how great the food is and
Yeah.
learning about different ways of making food taste good,
Right.
vegetables in particular. And now I even get that Misfit Market vegetable box.
Oh
Uh,
yes.
I get that. And what is so great is having the vegetables
Mhm.
and I'm cooking them and I'm eating them, right?
Right.
And also new vegetables, things
Mhm.
that I did not know about. It's been
Right.
so
Right.
great, right, to
Right.
learn about the new. Look, I'm calling them new. They've always been out
Right.
there, right?
But new
But
to
that
you,
I
right?
wasn't exposed to right
Right.
there,
Mm-hmm.
new to me, right? I'm like, Jesse, what is this, right? And then you
Right.
go and you look and finding like great recipes, right,
Mm-hmm.
to cook the vegetables. So it really is about education, and
Right.
also it's about availability. Also,
Absolutely.
you
Right.
know,
Right.
uh, so all of that, goes together, I think,
Mm-hmm.
too, in terms
Right.
of like, I mean, I know, New York City, our supermarkets are small, but if you go
Right.
outside, they're huge. And I
Right.
wonder if you just go straight to what you know, or do you ever really explore? Right?
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of exploring because I tried
Right,
to get the best ingredients,
right.
so I did a lot of exploring.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So I think I think it really is about education, totally
Absolutely.
about education,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um, so I know the past year has been really crazy. Can you talk about, as a business owner, how COVID impacted you and what's happening now and where you are since?
Right. Well, cool. COVID-19. That's a whole title.
Right.
Um, it was it was a lot, but
Mm,
I have to stay throughout. I have to give praise to the Almighty Creator because I was blessed, but
mm,
it was hard. Okay,
mhm,
so all
mhm,
together was a bunch of emotions. Because
mhm,
starting off in that year of March, um, it was a lot of contracts that I signed to get things
mhm,
done.
mhm,
Good deals, on the table.
mhm.
Then it was like, well, we're going to postpone it. And then it's like total shutdown.
Wow.
Nothing's going on. But, within that time, it was just like, a shutdown. I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't exposing my clients to anything. So for me, it was just a shutdown, and just like, I just got to meditate and think about some new things that I want to do. What can I do? How can I do it? So a lot of things, I created within that time frame to prepare myself for, things that happen out of your control. So then when things got, I would say probably in May. In May, I started to say, okay, I've been in the house. I mean, I was in the house all the time. I mean, I really didn't go anywhere. I was so scared. And I just didn't want to put myself or anybody at risk. So it was more so like at that time, what I did was I started meal prep, more heavy. Because my business was more centered on catering. So I did the meal prep. And with the meal prep, it was good because a lot of people were desiring the meal prep. A lot of people wanted that. I mean, I got inquiries while I was, not on my downtime, like, are you doing meal prep? Because I know restaurants were doing that, but I was just too scared. I was just like, no, I can't. Yeah, I mean, I can't go to the kitchen I usually go to. I can't do the things that I usually do. So it was just, different for me. So then after like things I felt like settled down, I got my COVID test and all that. I just worked with myself. I didn't have a team. I just worked with myself, and I did meal preps for people. So, because for me, that was just the lowest risk. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened. So it basically turned into like, a meal prep delivery service. That's what I was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically that's how, for me it was good because it was a surplus. People were on plans and people did what they had to do. As far as like ordering on the day, and then I get it to them on another day. So I was all over New York and New Jersey. So that was the benefit for me. But in that time, I also spiritually I got to a place where something else was calling me, within that time. And what I did was, I don't know where it came from, was like discovery. It was just something calling me from the West Coast. Like, I don't know where that came from. And I'm just like, the West Coast, I never wanted to be in the West Coast. Like, it was just not my thing. I'm an East Coast girl. I love New York, Brooklyn was my deal. I loved it. But then it just kept building. So I started researching. I started looking into it. And COVID-19 spawned a girl that's out here on the West Coast. I'm not on the West Coast now. I'm actually in New Jersey now. I'm visiting my family. But, I'm now on the West Coast, and that's what Veganique is, starting up now on the West Coast.
Wow.
So that's what COVID-19 did for me.
That's very interesting because you talked about spirituality. Take us on a little spiritual journey, how you were raised, just a little spiritual journey. You started out, you were raised, and where you are now in your spirituality. Give us a flavor of what that was like for you.
Well, as far as spirituality, I feel like it was always embedded in me as far as just young. I always talked to God like he was my friend. Just like I was the only child too. That might have been the driving factor. But it was just me and my cousin. She was like my sister. But times alone, I would talk to God. Even in grade school, kids were cursing. I was like, that ain't me, God, because I know you hear me. So I always had a close relationship with God. So that's what. And it was my grandmother. She kept us in the church. Going to Sunday school, and I was always the one, and I always like to please people, just like I like to do. So in Bible study and different things like that, I'll be the one getting the prizes because, I wanted to always, just show that I was good enough. I was the best.
You're the best.
So it was always embedded in me as far as my spiritual practice. Now, growing up, I used to be a Baptist, into the church and different things like that. And, I still believe all of that. It's just now it's just more spiritually. So like I work on the inside out. It's more so my meditation practices, and just being one with God within the presence of myself, God is within me. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how, and that's how I eat, as far as
Mm-hmm.
like I have a temple, so I want to honor that,
Mm-hmm.
because God has blessed me with so much, and that's how I get through, because I stay true to myself. I stay true to my spirituality. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that, and I mean, it led me to a whole nother region of the country,
Mm-hmm.
so that's definitely something that I lean on. It's my
Mm-hmm.
love in the meantime,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just forever grateful, even when
Mm-hmm.
I'm low, I'm just grateful
Mm-hmm.
because I know I'm going to be guided and directed out. So it's just about, like, honoring myself to the best of
Mm-hmm.
my ability, and
Mm-hmm.
even when I'm not, figuring out, okay, assessing or using tools like
Mm-hmm.
therapy to get my way back to where I have to go, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm that important, and I
Mm-hmm.
know every time God has my back in everything that I do. He shows it all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the reason why
Yep.
COVID-19 didn't take me down. Thank God,
Thank God.
because,
Right. You was
yeah, because that's what I was depending on, my business, so
mhm.
yeah.
You said that you were being pulled to the West Coast,
Yes.
right? So what's the difference? Have you found the difference culturally? What differences are you seeing that there than you experienced here?
Oh, yes, it's definitely a difference. Okay, because like coming from Brooklyn, the culture is everywhere. It's just beauty everywhere. It's our people everywhere. It's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So there it's also, I found peace there.
Mm,
Because that the thing about it is the culture. It's a different cultural aspect where I am. It's
yeah.
just like, it's a shock because New York is fast paced. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
go, you gotta get going. But
Mm-hmm.
there, it's just like it's peaceful, it's serene, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel a belonging there that I just didn't expect. I expected to be crying the first few weeks, like, what
Mm-hmm.
did I do? Why am I
Mm-hmm.
here? But
Mm-hmm.
everything went so smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
Where I live, it's beautiful. Of course, the weather. I mean, the weather is going to be nice on the West Coast, so it's
Yeah.
just, I love that aspect of it. Of course,
Mhm,
I'm a water girl, so the
mhm,
sun, the water, and all that is like
mhm,
great. But just being
mhm,
able to look out your balcony and see like beauty right there,
mhm,
which I did that in Brooklyn too, don't get me
mhm.
wrong, but just it's
Right.
just right. Yeah, that, the brownstones, of course, but it's just right now I just feel like I'm where I belong, and it's just gonna
Mm,
get bigger for me.
mhm,
So I didn't expect that, but again, that's how I know I was led, because the opportunities that are opening up right before my eyes, like, I'm busy, but it's just all such a blessing, and it's like it's just giving me confirmation that this was the right move for me.
yeah, when you say you're being led, I hear that as um being able to be led, surrendering and
Right,
getting yourself out of the way
right.
to be led. So I
Yes,
think it's fantastic that I like when you said something was calling me. You hear people say something's calling me, right? And
right.
called you and you were able to, like sometimes we don't necessarily just step out on those things and do
Right.
anything about it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really great that you were able to do that.
Right.
And you started your business there. Your business is up and running over there.
Yes,
It,
it's it's in the first beginning stages. I haven't posted anything yet, but I have, I'm doing the content and all that. All of that's coming, so I'm just taking my time because I want
mhm,
to do it right, because I have to
mhm,
know their systems and everything has to be
mhm,
transferred over, which is, that's what I'm in the process of doing now. So
mhm,
right now it's just, like maybe we're just starting a few meal preps, just starting,
mhm, mhm. It's
so
interesting when you talk about it and comparing it to New York. It's like New York is fast paced, and then it's like, oh, I'm taking my time, right? So
oh
it's sort
yes,
of like it's like
yeah.
there is like a peacefulness about knowing that you're doing everything in the right time in the right moment without that level of like we got to get up, we got to go, we got to make it happen kind of
Right.
energy. I think we float on that energy all the time at a certain
Right.
point until we realize that it's not even necessary,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it
Mm-hmm.
takes like you walked away from all that high energy in New York to
Right.
find peace, and you can still do as much, right? And
Right.
the same thing in like a different energy level, I would say. But
Right. And that's what I feel like New York was a preparation for what's about to come. New York is a different beast. So I'm glad, I was able to do that, do it in my own way. And now I'm doing this in my own way. And like you
Mhm,
said, I get to take my time because of the hard work that I put in, from
mhm,
in New York, So
mhm,
it's just like, yeah, I'm grateful. And I
mhm,
just feel like it's all coming together the way it should.
mhm. You said that COVID was really good for you. There was a lot going on, over the past year too, with all the racial injustices, with all the everything, with the presidency, with all the everything that went on over the past year.
Right.
So we do talk about like spiritual tools and what things we use to support us through that time.
Right.
Can you talk about some of the tools and things that help support you during this past year? Because I mean, you look great. Looks like you're at that peace level, making it happen
Mm-hmm.
now. And I know you did talk about like it was really hard. What kind of things supported you during that time?
Oh, well, I have to say my family. My
Mm,
family, my mother, my grandmother, my aunties, just keeping me grounded, and knowing
mm,
that they were okay on the other side too, and what gave me peace too, they got to take a rest. Unfortunately,
mm,
with everything closing down, but they got to sit down, take a rest and reflect. And what I noticed with them was they actually took the time to take care of themselves. Their
mm,
diets changed, they kept calling me
mm,
for advice and different things like that. We
mm,
talked about different things that made me feel good. So yes, spiritually, that is my connection, my family and love, right? And
mm,
knowing that God put everything together, for that to happen, because God is the head of that, right? For me.
mhm, mhm,
So just spiritually, keeping myself grounded, being a few hours away, but knowing they're okay. Now for
mhm.
myself, what it was reading, and
Oh.
I can't even lie. A lot of Tabitha Brown, she was like a light. She was definitely a light in that pandemic.
Mm, mhm,
Interview and just like the laughter and just the joy, so a lot of that. So and meditation, and I exercised. I did
mhm,
get off my couch, out of my
mhm,
bed, because
mhm,
that got to a point, because at first it was just like, what are we
mhm,
doing? I'm just waiting for
mhm.
them to say open back up, and then
I
you
know.
realize that's not gonna happen. So
Mhm,
also keeping me grounded was just getting my body, in motion. Like,
mhm,
I did things. If my landlord had this workout group that we would do, um,
mhm,
and then I had somebody like a friend of mine from LA. He
mhm.
had a total body workout thing. So I was like, that all kept me very grounded.
Right.
You know,
So, um, Tabitha Brown, you mentioned her a couple times,
hmm
right? What what did you take away from her message? Because I feel like she was really important to you during this time. You said her name. What is it that? Because I like Abraham Hicks, right? So I know it's about the law of attraction and being present. How did Tabitha Brown support you?
just her love. And just like
Mm,
I'm a family person too, so just the way she, I guess like, you saw the love within her, you saw the love with her and her family.
mm-hmm.
Just
Oh, like,
watching, not being able to be within mine, so
mm-hmm.
that brought me home. Even
Mm,
songs she would say, "Come on in the room" and different things like that. Those are
mm-hmm.
songs my grandmother, we would hear in church.
Mm-hmm.
And so I
Mm-hmm.
knew all the songs. She just
Mm-hmm.
reminded me of home. you know.
Mhm.
So just being my grandmother being from the South and her accent, all that, it was just so
Mhm.
reminiscent of like where I came from. So I just think she gave me a sense of home and my family just
Mhm.
there on YouTube, you know, and in my living,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
So it was just the inspiration. And of course, she's promoting vegan, plant-based food. You know, that's
Mhm.
amazing. And the way she
Mhm.
did it, you know, the how she did it, you know. So,
Mhm.
you know, and I always, you know, I know you know this, Grenada, you know, I was always shy behind the camera,
Mhm.
like this right now. This, yeah, I would have been giving you a hard time, you know, but I'm getting used to it. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
know that's my calling too, you know.
Mhm.
So just seeing the way she captures her audience, you know, and when
Mhm.
you always love something you want to be, like, you know,
Right.
so it's just like, oh gosh, she's amazing. So she did influence me a lot, definitely.
Hmm. You know, I mean, we talk about vegan, we talk about plant-based. Can you talk a little bit about like there's raw, there's vegan, there's vegetarian, there's plant-based. But that whole concept, and I think, yeah, the difference.
Yes, so the difference, so okay, so plant-based, basically it's just like I would think plant-based is just, you know, anything that comes from plants, right? Vegan is the whole encompass of like we're encompassing the processed with, you know, the processed vegan that doesn't come from animals, you know, anything that doesn't come from animals, meaning butter, milk, you know, eating the plant-based meat, which is basically from seitan, you know, but that's not
Mhm.
plant-based, that's from flour, you know what I'm saying? Even it's wheat,
Mhm.
but you know, all these process, but it vegan incorporates process as well. So
Mhm.
plant-based more so for me is like an alkaline diet, so that's raw diet is basically raw, you're barely cooking anything, you're having
Mhm.
salads, you're having wraps that you know, you're making like lettuce wrap, or collard green wraps and different things like that.
Mhm.
It's an alkaline system. So basically you're getting it from the ground. You're not manipulating it too much. You know, and that's really kind of like the best way to eat. You know, especially
Really?
if you're doing, yeah, especially if you're doing a good, it's good to detox yourself for a month like that. You know,
Okay.
or just detox every season like that. Every at the start of every season, that it's a good way to do that because your body's getting all the maximum nutrients, you know, that is coming from these plants, you know,
Mhm.
that are derivatives from the ground, you know,
Mhm.
or different things. You're just not cooking it because cooking, you know, it takes away some of the
Take-
nutrients, you know, so
Mhm.
it's manipulation. So the raw
Mhm.
alkaline diet is the
Mhm.
best because an alkaline body can't, you know, it's opposite of acidic. So you really, you're not, it's like you're not going to be able to get sick because you have an alkaline body, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's the more alkaline you are, the healthier you are. It's just
Mhm.
the science of that, but you just got to do the best that you can do, you know.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's just about what people choose. So vegetarian is, you can incorporate animal products with vegetarian, like dairy, cheese,
Mhm.
egg,
Mhm.
you know. So that's vegetarian.
Mhm.
Pescatarian, you could do pescatarian vegetarian, which is you are doing the dairy, eggs, and the fish, or
Mhm.
pescatarian where it's like you're just doing the fish but you're not doing any animal products at all, which is pescatarian vegan. You know,
Mhm.
so I mean,
Mhm.
it's all these names, but it's really just what's comfortable for you and just researching whatever you don't understand.
What? Because I do like a 3-day juice every
Okay,
2 to 3 months, right?
right.
And I really love it. I love to eat and I love not eating. I have
Yeah,
this
right.
whole thing, right? So when I'm juicing, right, I absolutely love not eating. And when I'm
Yes,
eating, I absolutely love eating,
eating,
right?
right.
So every 2 to 3 months, I will do a juice fast. And it really is great because I feel like it gives everything a break, right? Everything
Yes,
in your body just a break, right? From
right.
all the food. And it really is a nice cleanse. So I generally try to recommend it to people, but it's hard. They always say, oh, no, I cannot juice for 3 days, right? But I've done it enough. I think you could do whatever you decide to do. Like you said, we
whatever
choose.
you
We
choose to do.
absolutely choose. Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, and kudos to you for that, doing the juice fast, because, people don't know how important that is. Once you get over that hump of, because it's a mental thing. You feel like you're hungry, but once you get the juice or whatever is going to sustain you, you're okay.
Right.
And it's just like you're saying, it's detoxifying everything. It's just getting everything cleared out. Your pores, your skin, as women, and men too. Like you want to look your best,
Right.
especially as we age. It just helps you with the free radicals. It's just like getting rid of all that stuff. So that's the best thing. So kudos to you for doing that, and I love it too. When I'm in it, it's like a spiritual journey.
It really is. It really is like a spirit. And I always think about, how we grew up in the church and they would say fast and pray, right?
Fast and yes.
Fast and pray, right? Yes. That was one of those things. And whenever I'm fasting, I really do have spiritual moments, like a clarity. Now, the first day, it's like take it easy, but after that, there's a lot of clarity, right? There's a lot of like joy and great feelings, so it really is something to experience every 2 to 3 months. And I found that it's really healthy. So I really promote it. I always tell people, do it juice fast. But for me, it's funny, we do what we want. I don't have time to juice, right? Or have a juicer.
Right.
So I have somebody that makes it and delivers it, like you would deliver the food, right?
Yeah.
So I have this company that juices, delivers it, and all I have to do is shake and drink, right? And so that makes it a lot easier for me because I've had juicers and I've gone through all that, and I just know that's just not right. It's work, right? That's not what I'm gonna do, right? And so, and that's the good news, is that you don't have to do all that work, because that could be a turnout to also thinking about the amount of work that had to go into juicing, right? Yeah, so that's really cool. One of the things I wanted you to talk about was like, what would be some of the first steps towards like leading this healthy life? How would you suggest people start out? Because like I say, it's like coming from this side to the other side. It's a journey to get to healthier eating or not eating meat. What suggestions would you give for making that shift and getting there?
Education.
Education.
Definitely that's the start. Because it's the motivation and the education that's going to help you get to where you want to be. You can't just say like, I mean, you can, but it's just difficult to. It's like, what is your why? Why do you feel like you need to do this?
No, okay. Why is really important.
Yeah, like with everything in our life, what is your why? That's always, because why do you want to do this? Because if not, you're gonna just like try it out. You're gonna say it's not good. You got to research. What are some good? What are some good companies that can help you? What are some good books that can guide you in a direction? I know Dr. Sebi, Queen Afua for me. Those were helpful books, as far as like maintaining your body, maintaining, your cells, the rejuvenation of your cells, different things like that. So that's what kept me in it. And not being sick. And not getting colds all the time, or different things like that. Just being healthy and sitting in that healthy state, and then your discipline starts to build because you love the way you feel. So that's what it is. And I mean, like, that's why I started a company too. I mean, when people want consultations, I have a phone number, I have an email address. You can reach out to me, and we talk about it, and other people too, different places. But YouTube and um like I said, different people, like Dr. Seppi helped me. That's really my go-to, especially with the alkaline diet and just starting from the base and making your way up, looking at different recipes because the information is there. But, why do you want to do this?
Right.
And looking at the documentaries like, what is the documentary that everybody
What
loves?
the Health was one of them,
What the
right?
hell? My
Right,
God.
right.
Exactly.
I
You
know,
know,
right.
that,
Some people wouldn't watch it. People are
yeah,
resistant.
because
Some
they
people are
know.
just like, forget it. I will not watch it. Right.
Right. That'll make you, like looking at stuff like that because it's like if you want to do it, you're gonna do it. And you can keep putting it off, but it's just like, are you inflamed? You have arthritis. Do you have what kind of problems do you have? Because those things can be healed through food.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
know
It's
that for
like
a
how
fact.
to get there. I think about a part of like education is how to get there before you're sick, how to get there before, right? How do you
Proactive.
get
Yeah,
people
because
to understand the whole we get it. Once you get sick, there's a why to feel better
right,
and to get well. But it's prior to that. Here are some great things you could do preventive. I think it
right.
is more of what I'm thinking of, right? Because they put like exercise right at the top of preventive care, right?
Mm-hmm.
And exercise, take these tests, go do this, go do that. But what about eating? Putting it right up there, right?
Right, right.
as one of the main things for preventive as well as restorative measures,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and I always just think about how we learn to cook, right? So it's like generations of it, right?
Yeah.
Generations of it, right? I
Yeah.
don't, and I have family members. It's so funny that would not try anything. You say you mention vegan, it's like nope, not trying it, not
Right.
eating it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without even exploring it, it's hard to even get people to want to try some of the things because of what they think about it, I guess,
Right.
and because it's not meat
Mm-hmm.
or it's not flavored the same way with meat. All these ideas of how it is. But I
Right.
like that more awareness now, as you said, because there are a lot more vegan groups online, like you said, the internet. So the information is there, right?
Yeah.
I like talking about eating for health. And like I said, eating is a spiritual practice, right?
Yeah.
Because I think about self care and
Mm-hmm.
what are the things and the steps that we do to take care of ourselves. You
Right.
talk about self care, we talk about our body as a temple.
Mm-hmm.
We always relate to like what practices we talk about spiritual practices for peace, right?
Right.
What eating practices can we do to bring peace? Like when I say if I juice, clarity comes, right? When I'm
Right.
not eating, right?
Right.
And eating good food. So it's really exciting to talk about, eating for health.
Right. And health should get us excited,
Yeah,
because we all want to be here. It's about longevity. Because
right.
at the end of the day, you got to understand your body is working as a machine. When you're putting anything you put in your body is working as a machine. It takes a
Mhm.
process, no matter if it's a blueberry or if it's a pork loin. It
Right,
doesn't matter.
right, exactly.
It's a process, but it just gets more arduous,
Mhm,
when we are consuming these like heavy products,
mhm,
so
mhm.
that's the thing. You have to be aware of that, and
Right,
it's about
exactly.
self-care
I
and
thought of convenience, right, too,
right,
because
yeah,
all the things that are not as healthy are so convenient. I could go around the corner and I can find some Popeyes, I can find some McDonald's, I can find some easy things to eat
right,
rather than I have to come home and I got to cook these vegetables, right,
right,
and eat them. It's really a lot to think about making it more convenient if we want more and more people.
Right.
More, and I'm sure we are seeing more vegan options because if
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
I love Brooklyn, so I'll just say, oh, vegan options in Brooklyn. There are a lot of vegan restaurants.
Right. Right. It is.
More,
More definitely now. They're
yeah,
everywhere. And even,
yeah.
I mean, look, you talk about fast food, but you have Burger King, and they're doing the Beyond or
The
the
beyond, right,
Impossible.
exactly,
They're
right.
trying.
They're trying,
I can't get with it, but at least it's something that there is another option. And
right.
it's just about, even if we're chopping up a bunch of stuff and put it in a salad.
Hmm.
It's mindfulness,
Hmm.
and usually the
Mindfulness,
good stuff, it
absolutely.
does take some work, it takes some time,
Hmm.
and we get to give ourselves that time,
Hmm.
so
What do you think about the Beyond Impossible burgers, meats?
I don't, well, Impossible Burgers I don't really like, because it does have a lot of soy in it, in the
Okay.
Impossible, so I really don't, but Beyond Burgers, they're really based in the pea protein, which is
Mhm.
good, but
Mhm.
it's still processed,
Right.
so everything for me in moderation. But
Hmm.
it does, it's a little bit easier in your system than, beef. Beef takes so long to process in your body,
Hmm.
so it's
Hmm.
just like, of course, that's a better solution than, just eating, beef or pork, or
Right.
something that's harder on your system. And even
Hmm.
chicken's hard too, turkey, all of that.
Hmm.
It's a
All
process.
right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so with
Hmm.
those, I mean, they're still processed. So I
Hmm.
can't say, oh, that's the solution. It's just like everything that's still in moderation, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because,
Well, it is really. I like bringing the awareness to
mhm,
what you eat, right? And having it available for people, making it accessible, right, is
yes,
good. And the whole idea of education that you can find so much more about how to change your eating habits.
right.
So it's been really good having you here.
Thank you.
What would be your top three pack? We always talk about the spiritual toolkit. So the spiritual toolkit is personal, and
Okay.
it is what each one of us has in our own little packet that
Hmm.
supports us. So what would be your top three spiritual practices in your spiritual toolkit?
So of course, meditation,
Okay.
because I feel like that's the time God is able to talk to me, you
Okay.
know, and
Hmm.
it's a sacred time for me because it's about manifesting. Like I said, I feel like I've gotten this far because of it.
Hmm.
My next, of course, will be exercise too, because I
Hmm.
just feel like it just, you know, um, it just gets me going. I just feel good, and it keeps
Hmm.
me vibrant for this, the demand of what I'm doing.
Hmm.
Um, and next thing is just really love, spreading,
Hmm.
being grounded, like loving on myself,
Hmm.
and spreading that love to my family and my friends.
Hmm.
So that's my toolkit. That's
Yeah.
that's that's what I need to, like, be okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really great. So, Tanika, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you. It was great having you here. Any last words for people and how they can get in touch with you?
Okay. Well, it was definitely a pleasure being on this
Mhm.
awesome show. Thank you,
Mhm.
Granetta, for having
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
But you can find me on Instagram at Veganique. It's V as in Victor, EGANEIK. And Facebook is
Mhm.
the same, Veganique. And I have a website, veganique.com.
Mhm.
It's where you can place orders. You can have
Mhm.
consultations if you want to order catering. And right now, because I moved recently to the West Coast, we're doing orders on the West Coast. But soon it'll be pop-ups in New York, and I'll be also shipping to New York. We're working on all of that right now. Well, to the East Coast.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that's what's going on so far. Just spreading love through food. That's what I love to do. I'm gonna
Mhm.
keep doing it. I'm gonna spread it everywhere I can go. And just, my last words, just explore,
Mhm.
explore, work on yourself. Don't make it so as a chore to look
Mhm.
at different options as far as food, because that's the base of our being, and we
Mhm.
all want to be here with our families and loved ones, and we don't have to go through all this other stuff with diabetes and all this other stuff that's plaguing, of course, a certain community. So
Mhm.
we need to really work on that. We get to work on that. So
Mhm.
that's my forward, just do the research, love on
Mhm.
yourself,
Mhm.
take the time. And if,
Mhm.
I'm always here if you need help, you can always reach out to me. So um that's it. And
Well,
we're gonna keep spreading love.
Bella, well,
With my
thank you so
food.
much, right? It was so great having you. I wish you all the best over there on the West Coast, right? When you
Thank
start
you.
shipping over here and back over here, I'll be down for some of your good food, right?
Absolutely. I got you, Granetta. I got
Yeah. All
you.
right, then. You take care. Thanks for coming.
No, thank you for having me, and have a great night. Thank
You
you.
too. All
All right.
right. Bye-bye. Well, thank you for joining me tonight here, Reverend G, on Conversations with Reverend G. I'm here every Monday night from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on WEMS Radio, bringing you spiritual conversations. Tonight, I'd like to just leave you with a mindful message around eating. We talk about self care. And as we talk about self care, one of the things that's really important is how do we treat our body? If we are loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves, what is our priorities around food? Are we just running and eating? Are we mindfully eating? Are we even mindfully choosing the food that we put into our bodies? Tonight, had a lot of information on changing our eating styles for health reasons. And I'd like to say it's really important when we look at, living our lives in joy and living our best lives. Eating is very much a part of that. So check out how you're eating and look to improve your health and your lifestyle by changing your eating. It's Reverend G, and you have a great, great week. And I'll see you next week. But you can also find me during the week on Instagram as Rev Granetta and on Facebook and YouTube as Reverend Granetta Mason. Have a great, great week.